Hi, I'm Carmen and welcome to Women in Digital. I'm really excited to be sat here with Zahraa. Zahraa, would you like to do an intro into who you are?
Oh, hi, Carmen. Thank you for having me for the first one. I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
So, hi, everyone. My name's Zahraa Murtaza. I'm a Senior Vice President at the Bank of New York, but I'm also an AI advisor for AI Tech UK.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited. I was thinking back to when we first met, and it was back at Reframe, Women in Technology, and I think it was about 2023, wasn't it? It was a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And I remember I was there with a colleague, and you had your stand, and you were doing one of your first public speaking events. And fast forward to where we are today, and I'm really inspired personally by the journey that you've been on, everything that you've done, and especially the awards you've been nominated for and the top 50 as well recently. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Carmen. I still can't believe it.
What's it been like for you, your public speaking journey from that day to where you are today?
I remember how nervous I was. Do you remember the day after, I was like shaking.
Yeah.
And I think I was fasting at the time as well, so I was just like super tired.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember the day I was on the stand, I didn't fast when I was doing the panel, but I remember being really nervous and just expressing like who I am. And now I think before it was very focused on being female, being in tech. And now I've tried to get away from that and be more about the tech stuff, because it's like, I know my tech guys, like I know how to do agile, I know how to do transformations. Yeah. And you learn more from other people. So that's where that kind of merge comes in, because you're on you're on like a panel with other males as well as females. So it's a lot easier, because all you're doing is talking about tech, but you can also show that you're a female as well at the same time without like...
just focused on one side. Yeah. And how was it the first time getting on stage to do public speaking?
So I always shout out to Dawn, and I thought you mentioned her. So Dawn actually helped me out quite a bit. So actually it was Pete as well. So he said, Zahraa, why don't you do like an article for Manchester Digital? And I'm like, oh God, no. And then I was like, you know what? But I'd love it if I was like that in the newspaper.
Yeah. You think, why not do something like that? Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, you know what, I might as well. And then Dawn was like, oh, you're an inspiration. People was like, oh, you're an inspiration. And I'm like, I'm really not. Like, guys, I'm really not.
You are.
So it gets hard, though, when people say stuff like that, because I'm like, I don't think I am. But then I was like, actually, if there was someone like me when I was younger, like, even if it's just like one person. Yeah. But I remember the first time I went on, and it was actually for International Women's Day with Manchester Digital. Fantastic. So they put me on stage, and it was Dawn that allowed that to happen. And I just got nervous. But then having other really strong females, like Perel was on there as well.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
And there was like loads of others. I always forget. Roslyn was on there as well. So there was like quite a few of us on there, and just listening to them, because they spoke before, just made it easier for me. So it's one of those where if you're on a panel, it's a lot easier because you can bounce back off other people. Okay. And I'm never the smartest on the panel, which I love, because you learn more from others, and it's just like, I'll give you my little insight on how I feel, but it's the keynotes that get really difficult, because that's are they actually listening? So I did one on the biases of AI in banking last week. So that was quite interesting. I was really tired, and I was saying it to you before, where it's like, I think I bring my authentic self to stuff now, because when it's a business setting, you have to be very straight to it, hit the agenda, everything of value. But then because this is public speaking outside of my own role, I can just be myself. Yeah. So I got really tired, and I just sat down. I was like, I'm really sorry, I can't stand up. I just had a long journey from the train. Yeah. But I think it's more of a create that rapport with the people around you before you get on stage.
Love that.
Because then people are going to start looking at you. So I created that rapport. And it was so lovely. There was a couple of females that came up to me and started talking, because I was absolutely knackered when I came in. I was sweating like you do, and then they were like, hey, I'm really excited for you. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Well done. So that's what I do now. I try to create rapport with the people around you, because then you can understand what is the target audience and what are they expecting from this. And any keynote I do now, I have the 4 simple questions. What are your expectations? What do you expect out of this? What's the outcome and stuff like that? So it's just so I can gauge what they like. Fantastic. And I've always been quite quick on my feet, and I don't know what it is. I think it's because I've come from such a like my mum and dad are very different people, so you always have to be quick on your feet with like, how's mum today? Like, what do we need to do? So me and my brothers were like very quick on our feet. So it's just something we've learned to do. So it's quite, you just need to gauge the audience, and by doing that is just speaking to them.
And what inspires you to keep going? Is it that network and that community around you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you can learn so much more. So, for example, I'm doing a lot more in like the cybersecurity element of it.
That's exciting.
Because it's because I want to learn more. Like, we keep saying shift cybersecurity left, and it's such a key element that I go to them where it's like CIO and CISO events.
Okay.
So Inspired Business do a lot of those where they combine them together. And I love it because it's like, I need to actually know how to bring security into it, because it should still be part of that CTO network.
Yeah.
So how do we shift it left? Like, what are you thinking as a CISO or a head of security or someone who's in that security domain, like a solutions architect?
Yes.
And how do I bring you into the plan?
Okay.
So it's stuff like that. And even AI as well. Like, we don't know where the exactly. So I'm trying to learn as much as I can, because it's not about what can I do for BNY, it's what can I do for my own knowledge.
Absolutely, and keep that growing as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There was actually it was with Inspired. There was someone that was from AstraZeneca, and he was talking about the interim stage. We always forget the interim stage. We always talk about, this is because I'm always the as is, like, what is the as is at the moment, and where am I going to take you for the to be for your transformation?
Okay. Yeah.
What if it's 4 or 5 years till you've transformed?
That's
so he was like, you've forgotten the interim.
Okay.
And as someone who's agile, how can I forget interim when it's literally iteration, isn't it?
That's what you do. Yeah.
So I'm like, wow. So it's stuff like little stuff, nuances like that you learn from different people. So I love going, because I've learned so much from others. I think my career's probably shot up purely because I've been going to events and I've been listening to how other people have done it, because you have to do it in such a layman's term.
Yes.
Like, I use analogies all the time, and other people use the same. So I'm like, oh, that's what that means.
Yeah.
So it's like security, for example. It's before, my grandma probably didn't lock her door, but now times have changed. She's got like a Ring doorbell. It's stuff like that. It's like absolutely. Tech changes as well. So that's why. So it's that kind of thing.
I love that. And in terms of what you go to events for, both like attending and speaking at, do you like the more technology focused or women in technology, or is it both that you like to encompass?
Oh, I love both. Yeah, because I think the women in tech one is really important, because I want to know there's people like me out there that I can speak to, and it's just little things that as a female some people might not understand. So you need that female camaraderie around you, just to understand like, oh, actually I'm not the only one that's going through that.
I think public speaking is one of those things, isn't it, where a lot of people want to do it, but how do you actually get into it and build that confidence as well? I know for me it's something I'd love to do more of. Have you got any advice for anybody that would like to get into public speaking, and how to best go about that? So
you need to find the smaller stages. Okay. So if you partner with Manchester Digital, they are like the key. I keep saying I need to post this. I need to post this article that I've written for so long, and they are a key. Because obviously before doors for us, I felt doors for us were still open, but they weren't locked. But now I feel like doors are kind of locked. Good. Like, people are a bit scared. But Manchester Digital, like, they give you a key. For example, I managed to speak to our CEO on a round table internally. I would never in a million years be able to do that. Exactly. But it wasn't the exposure, it was the confidence to do it. But because of my public speaking outside, I'm like, well, I've spoken to 300 people. Like, I don't even know who they are. It could have been some MDs, could be CEOs out there. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
If I can speak to them, I can speak to an average, like, obviously he's not average, but you get what I mean? Like,
someone
who's just a human.
It is just a person at the end of the day.
So it's getting on that smaller side. So if you're in Manchester, please just be involved with Manchester Digital and help out there. But if it's for your confidence, also we have a lot of knowledge that people say, Ada College, it's only down the road from here. Try and help out and do some modules for them, because then it's a win-win. You're teaching the next generation of tech, but also you're getting your public speaking and your confidence out there. So it's just do things that, like, volunteer to speak at places and share your knowledge. So they're the kind of thing that I'd say. And also don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like, you're not going to lose anything at all.
Yeah, it's all experience, isn't
exactly.
It? Thank you. Yeah. And we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? But your journey into technology and where you are today, what's that been like for you?
So we were talking about the stigma of failure before, weren't we?
Yes.
And I was saying that I told someone that was super, super close to me for 5-6 years, and I never told them anything about like this failure that I had. And I just rang them up yesterday, like, oh, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow, but I wanted you to be the first to know. And they were like, why didn't you tell me? Like, it's such a, like, the person who was the least judgmental out there, and you'd ever told them. And I'm like, it's the stigma behind it. So that failure was when I was at college. I don't even know if I want to say it. When I was at college, I failed. Yeah. And I had to resit my year. Yeah. No one knows that because everyone's like, oh, Zahraa must be smart. She went to uni. She followed the normal path that everyone does, but it's that resilience behind it. So I never knew I wanted to do tech, but I realised that I was very good in terms of practicality. Okay. So I've worked since I was 16, but that wasn't like a necessity because of finance. That was everyone else was, I've got nothing else to do. I need to go out to work, just to have a role. Okay. So that built my confidence on how to speak to people. But then I realised I'm very hands-on. I'm not academic whatsoever. Okay. And my mum and dad obviously pushed me to go to that medical route and stuff like that, just because it's easier. A lot more South Asian, a lot more Muslims in there, so I would fit in a lot more in that medical sector. Okay. But I was like, no, I want to do something that I enjoy. I want to be passionate about. Yeah, exactly. And I'm very passionate about economics because it's practical. It's what's going on day to day.
Yeah, makes sense.
So then I think someone came in to speak about project management. Okay. So I was like, oh, that actually sounds fun because that's very practical. Like you see the whole end to end. And then I went and found a placement for myself. It's very hard getting a placement now. It was very hard then to do a placement. Okay. But luckily I got into BSF, which is a chemical firm. And then from there, I got into Agilent Technology, again, a diagnostic firm. Yeah. Did program project management there, realised waterfall isn't for me, started researching more. Yeah. And then Barclays were headhunting at the time in their tech space. Okay, yeah. Then they had like a Scrum Master role going. I interviewed for the role, but they actually hired me because of the way I am. Didn't have a clue about Agile whatsoever.
Yeah, but that resilience.
Yeah, it's the resilience of it, and it's also the open, like Agile, it's that open mindset. Yeah. You're going to be open to change and wanting to do that. And then it just from there, it started going up, and obviously I moved into GFT, that's where you and I met.
That is, yeah.
I love GFT just because it was that consultancy side of it. Yeah. Because you and I have obviously spoken about Nimble many a time, and I do miss that like consultancy side of things. And then BNY just because it's closer. It's only in Manchester. Yeah. It's a very reputable firm. Absolutely. And it's one of those where you probably just stay at forever. Yeah. Just because of the way it is. So that's how I got into it. So I failed. I was resilient. Redid college. I felt there was no such thing as apprenticeships then. Okay. If I could change, I'd go back and do an apprenticeship. Yeah. But I don't see many around in Manchester and stuff. I think Knutsford's fantastic in Barclays. Okay. But if you think about the demographic, it's quite a wealthy area, and so it wouldn't be something I would have gone into because I don't live in that area. Yeah. But if we had more of that, I probably would have gone that. But yeah, no one has. If you know how to pick yourself up and be resilient, that is going to make you a better person. I was speaking to my cousin about this, and she was talking about Oxbridge students. And then they are very used to not failing. Okay. That's why sometimes they find it harder in the real world because they're so used to getting A's, A stars. No project's going to be an A star. You're going to get defects. You're going to get bugs. Yeah. You're going to get scope changes. So you need to be resilient. If you can learn that resiliency at a younger age, you're going to be more adaptable for the future.
Thank you. How do you feel now you've said that?
Oh God, I was trying to say it for like 2 seconds and then ignore it. So but yes, I need to tell the world I failed. I reset. I was resilient, and it doesn't matter anymore because I'm probably in a better position now and happy with where I am. And I think that's the thing because I thought. It's that because I always thought about imposter syndrome. Yes. But it is, isn't it? Because it's like I felt like an imposter that people are going to be like, how is she an SVP? Yeah. And have such a good job if she failed college? Yeah. Like who does that?
Who does that?
Yeah. But it's like, so what? I'm not the most. I'm the reason I do well is because I know I'm not the smartest in the room.
Yeah. And I think it's hard to acknowledge that sometimes, isn't it, as well? Yes. And I think like my background was working in recruitment, and it can be quite known in the industry that there is a certain path that people need to follow. I think especially when I started that, say 10 years ago now, and everyone had to have a degree, everyone had to have taken that certain path where they've done the education and then they go into technology, whereas now there are different routes in, as you've mentioned, and like at Nimble, something that we do is we encourage people to take different paths and like try different things and like upskill in different areas. And I think it's something that you have to be open to and that we need to share more of as well. It's not just one route for one type of person, it's for everybody, isn't it, if they'd like to explore it.
I love that, and I think that's the right way to do it, because that's what I like. That's what I really like about Nimble, and that's why I always have a conversation. Like me and you always like. I'm always like, so what's going on? Yeah, because it's that route of
absolutely.
You don't need to be techie all the time. Like if you're in tech, you can still go into product. You can still go into delivery.
Yes.
Or even if you're in delivery, you still go into tech as well. Like so, it's I like that route, and I think because you guys are nimble, aren't you? That's the whole point. It's in the name.
That's it.
Yeah, but when you're in like a larger firm, it gets a little bit harder, because is this a lateral move or is this a downwards move? And sometimes it's like, well, just because of the salary bands and the way that it goes, like this is going to have to be, because you're not as you're quite junior in that role, you might have to take a step down. Yeah. But if you've already got that career path of take a step down, take a lateral move, then go upwards, what's wrong with that?
Absolutely. I think you've given some really incredible advice there around starting off and how to move into the industry. And an article I read very recently of yours was around invisibility. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Oh, this is my favourite article. It really is. So it's about...
I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. I've actually done a couple of workshops on this with more junior staff members, because it's you shouldn't feel pressure that you have to be seen. Yeah. It's better not to be seen, because you can figure out who you are and what skills you have in order to then be seen. Yes. And even if you are senior, when you first start a role, you always feel your first 100 days like that they are so key. Okay. Yeah. However, I've gotten to a point, even with my role at BNY, that I was invisible for a good month or two, just because I wanted to see the lay of the land. So what is it like? Yeah. Who do I speak to? How do different people enjoy being spoken to? Some people are like, you need to speak directly to my PA to then speak to me. Or some people like, just tease me or call me. I'm not fussed. So it's that kind of thing where you need to be that sponge that absorbs all of that information to then know, I know my stuff. And I'm going to go off. Because if you only know a little bit of it and you then speak to a whole room... Yes. They're going to be like, well, we've already got all this information. It's probably on Confluence. It's probably on here. It's probably on one person. Just ensure that you're getting the information you need before you go to the next person. It's the same with networking as well, with invisibility. Mm-hmm. It's like I always call it shadow networking or invisible networking. Yeah. It's not stalking, but it sounds very stalkerish. Okay. I do apologise for saying that. Yeah. But you watch people and you gauge how they interact. Okay, yeah. So, for example, my old line manager at GFT, Rob, absolutely amazing. Yeah. I just used to watch how he used to do a programme. Oh, okay. So, how he did his raid logs, how he did set his governance in structure, and I just used to listen to him. Okay, I like that. And then absorb that information. And then go just to him. Won't go to the programme manager in the programme that I'm working on. Go straight to my line manager and be like, is this how you do it? Perfect. And he's like, seen. Exactly. Yeah. So always go to that one person, and then also network with people that are either lateral move or one above. If you go all the way to MD, even I won't go to MD because it's you've had this massive career journey. There's a massive gap between So I will go to someone that's maybe one level above me, just to understand how do I get to that next level, because I'm not going to shoot up to MD, am I? There's 3 other moves left yet. Absolutely. So it's stuff like that. So network with who you need to, but make sure you're networking lateral or one above. But
it makes me think, I have made the transition from recruitment into sales and the growth team at Nimble, and it's very similar, but there's also a lot of differences as well. And I know Nimble very well, but actually the sales side of it is very different. And I spent a lot of time with Chris, our founder, and absorbing as much knowledge as I could, and obviously knowing better than him, but like learning how he positions Nimble, all the great things that we're doing, our services and what we offer, and why Nimble essentially. And I actually did take that back seat to learn that, and it's definitely aided me now, so I can relate to what you're saying, definitely.
I love that, because you've literally just said, look, I've taken a step back from where I was to then absorb all the information to go ahead. So we are doing it, so you're still resilient. I think it's because because we didn't put a word on it or a wrapper around it. But it's where do we want to be?
It probably sounds quite scary to people, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Take a step
back, go into the shadows slightly, and then, it's bounce when you've got all the information.
Exactly.
And then you can move forward, and you've got everything to work with. I think that's fantastic advice. And I think probably on the opposite scale of this that we briefly talked about was burnout.
Yes.
And when you've got all that information and you are bouncing per se and you're ready to go, how do you manage that, and what is burnout to you?
So we were talking about this upstairs.
We were,
So burnout to me, I don't get burnout with work.
Okay.
Because I live in such a supportive family that my mum and dad are always going to be there. I've got two amazing brothers. I'll go home, that's my safe space where I can just be me.
Okay.
So maybe it's because obviously I'm Muslim, I'm trying as hard as I can. So I might go off, I might pray, or I might just go for a walk.
Okay.
It's just little things to me that I know can help me out.
Yeah.
The reason I'm burnt out, like I was saying it before, like, Carmen, I'm so burnt out.
Yeah.
It's social pressure. It's social pressure at with where I am.
Yeah.
I'm female. I'm my age. I don't have kids yet, and obviously everyone's always thought I should be married, should have kids by now, type thing. So it's one of those where it's like age related, and also just being South Asian. I'm like, I'm actually not old. Like, I don't get where this is coming from.
You've achieved a lot though, which might be why.
I feel that people may feel that. So I get burnt out thinking about the future.
Okay. Yeah.
Because work's not going to be there all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas that social pressure of who do I need to be at home socially isn't there. So my mum and dad have never pressurised me for anything. Yeah. But then when you go into the real world, I feel people put you in boxes. Yeah. So we were talking about this before about like being modest and covering up and stuff like that, where it's like people need to put me in a box, like, you're Muslim, so why are you not dressed like that? Yeah. Oh, well, you must be Western then. I'm like, oh, well, I live in the West. I was born here. Why do you need to label me that? Yeah. So it's like, where's that middle ground that I had at home? Yeah. Where's that safe space that I have at home? It doesn't matter what I do with my life. It's on me.
Absolutely.
So that's where the burnout comes from, because it's the pressure of... Because I feel like work pressure is very different, where it's if you've got supportive live managers, it's fantastic. I've got supportive parents at home, whereas my dad's like, if you want to quit, you can just move back in with us. Like, I don't care. He's just such a chill guy.
He sounds great.
It's just like, just come home, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah. And I suppose with those pressures, and, in the future, if you were to start a family, and that social side, that is probably very relevant, isn't it, to women in technology and working women as well, and what does that look like, and finding somewhere that is supportive, because not everywhere is, and being able to work in a way that you can balance family and work. Is that something you're worried about?
I am, and I'm not at the same time, because I see my brothers, both of my brothers are highly successful. Both of them, one's a director, one's an MD. Like, they're very successful. Yeah. But their wives are also super successful.
Love that.
So, but they have to be in the office 5 days a week. So one's a dentist, one's a barrister. Wow. So again, this is what I have to compete with. Yes. This is literally what I have to compete with now. Yeah. So I see how my mum is, and I also see how their mums are. So it's like, if you've got that wrapper around you of having your in-laws, me, like even Auntie Zahraa does the pickups and drop-offs sometimes, and like does the babysitting if she's got a day off. Just have that supportive structure around you that you don't need to balance it with work as well. Yeah. But if you don't, the problem is if you don't have that at home, what do you do? Yeah. So I know a couple of friends that have this same issue where it's like, we're not as lucky as that. Like,
no, not everyone has that.
Yeah. Like our in-laws aren't just down the road. Even our parents aren't just down the road. So one of my sister-in-laws, her family is like 15 minutes away. Yeah. We're like literally 5 minutes away. Mm-hmm. And the same with my other brother, we're like 10 minutes away from him. But then his in-laws are 40 minutes. However, 10 minutes from his wife's work. Drop off straight to work. Sense. So it works for them. But then they were talking about if we were to move for better schools, we're not going to have that.
No.
And then some people just don't have anyone at home.
Yeah.
At all. It's just your husband, you, your kids. What about if you're a single mum as well, or if you're a single dad?
That's it.
So how do you balance that?
Yeah.
And nursery fees is expensive.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you, a fortune. Yeah.
So it's stuff like, so I'm like, I think if you have a line manager, and it's the same with me, like when I'm a line manager, I'm like, oh, see your kids, like that is life.
Yes.
Work isn't life. So it's if you know exactly what you're doing, you can go off and you can do that balance. And I think coming back into the office is actually hindering parents, not mums, but parents.
Absolutely,
as well. So dads as well.
100%.
Because my brother has it as well, where he obviously he's always had to be in the office just because of the sector he's in.
Yeah.
But the way he works is so flexible.
That's great.
They'll turn around. And the other thing is there's a stigma on males as
there
isn't there?
There really is.
So when my uncle used to leave for work and do the pickups, his managers used to be like, oh, where's your missus? Oh, she's at work. Like,
shocking. Yeah.
I need
we're
to
in the modern age.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the modern age.
Yeah.
Whereas with my brothers, it's like, oh, I just need to go to. It's like the girls, like, you know, when you have like your vaccinations.
Yes. Yeah.
My brother had to take one of them for one of them. So we need to take the stigma away from dads being dads and mums working.
Absolutely.
And then also someone at my age not being settled down, not having kids. It's like everyone's life is everyone's life. Just let us get on with the job.
How do we do that?
Yeah, exactly.
How do we do that? Yeah.
And then also I think people just want to know to help.
Yeah.
So it's like one of my kids, I don't have any kids. One of my friends, she was like, at this moment in time, I don't want any kids, but people always keep asking me. Mm. And it's like, why do people have to ask these kind of things?
It's a very personal thing as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then one of my other friends doesn't want to get married. I'm like, that's actually normal.
That's
like
okay.
to me, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, that's normal.
Absolutely.
But then other people have a stigma around these kind of things. But I think it's just let anyone and everyone just live their lives if it's not hurting you. It's like, for example, when we were talking, one of my very close friends at uni. She came out and she was like, oh, I was really scared of like telling you and your mum. I'm like, oh my God, like don't stigmatise us. Like we won't be okay with it.
Yeah, of course.
And mum goes, honey, when I'm at Subway, have I ever told the guy in front of me why are you getting that Subway? What you do and what you is
so true.
on you.
Yeah.
Why would I care?
Yeah, be you.
Be you, be happy.
Absolutely.
And no one should say anything about it.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. It is hard because even I try and help people out if they're like going through something. Yeah. But then sometimes like I like being left alone.
Yeah.
So if I've had a bad day, please just leave me alone. Yeah. And then the only people I'll let in, it's quite funny because it's my nieces because the only time I'm like, can you tell your mum and dad to go away? Because they're just kids are just so innocent that they'll just sit there and they'll give you a hug and they'll be like so. When I'm crying, she calls it bap bap because she tries to. She's like bap bap.
Oh, bless.
And I'm like bap bap.
Yeah.
She's like hookies, and I'm like oh. So that's it's a very long answer to burnout. It's you find your own way to cope.
I love that. I think like from recent experience, I've come back from maternity leave with my second, and I was ready to come back sooner than planned. So I was going to take the year. And it got to around sort of 7-8 months and thought, mentally, I need to be challenged and I'm not getting that right now. I've had enough nappies, enough baby talk or babbling. I just need something for me. Yep. And I think, again, around that there's a stigma, why are you not at home? Why are you back working? And I just knew that I was ready. And thankfully, at Nimble, Chris was very flexible and he understood and he allowed me to have that time working remotely so I could still be with my baby at home but having that time to work on a phased return, and that's been great. I've not had that before, and that opportunity to work and be a mum has been great. Amazing. And I'm not missing either then. So I think that's something that workplaces could do. Having that phased return for mums would be great.
I think that's amazing, actually, because if you think about it, because you don't have that stigma of, they're left on their own type thing, but you're there to have that flexibility. And I think people always see return on investment. They always see that short term.
Yes.
They don't think the long term. Actually, that person's going to stay now because we've been so good. And you always try harder.
Yes.
Don't you? Because it's like because you've been so good to me, I'm going to be good back to you.
That's it. Absolutely.
And it's also little things like my brother was saying this. He was like, if childcare was like one of those, you know, he goes, how is it that car payments, you can get these, you can get it before your tax comes out?
Yeah.
Why can't I get my nursery fees before tax comes out?
Absolutely,
like, stuff like that. Like, why is it? Yeah. Why is that subsidised yet childcare isn't?
That's it. Yeah.
And then one of my other friends was talking about like it goes off like highest earners, stuff like that, with like how many hours.
Yes. Yeah.
You kind of, if you've got two parents there as well, like both of them working, like what is going on? Like and then you've got your mortgage on top.
Yes.
You still want to live your life and go on holiday, because we're very used to it. I remember when we were younger, we never went on holiday and stuff like that, but that was just because my dad was always busy with stuff, and it was just never, because he never went on holiday when he was younger, because he came from, I love my dad's story, but he never wants to talk about it. He came from a very, very, very poor working, not even like less than working class kind of background, and he's like shot up himself, but his mannerisms and his mentality of, I need to carry on grinding and working and grinding, and we don't do holidays, we need to push forward. Whereas he's given us a life of basically calls us spoiled brats because we like going on holiday.
Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, holiday again. My brother's like, it's been like four months. He's like, 4 months, exactly. Try 4 years.
Yeah. Fantastic. I think looking at all this, you, and I was reflecting on that, but you've had huge like wins in your career, and looking at when we met a few years ago to where you are now, it truly is inspiring, both what you're doing at work but also in the community as well. And I love how much of an advocate you are for women in technology, and I learned from you myself.
Thank you.
What would you say are your sort of biggest wins that you've had and lows that you've had in your career?
So my biggest wins definitely have to be like helping others out, like Ada College,
love
like
that.
doing like a module and speaking to them. And it's just, I love it when people come up to me and say stuff like that, because I was speaking to someone else before this morning, and she was talking about, can you come and just like help us out and volunteer, just talk about women in tech? And I'm like, I don't know anything, but I can help. I can talk and network you around. So that's my biggest win. It's actually, I'm doing something nice. And then also there was a couple of female Muslim girls that came up to me, and they're like, how have you managed to get to where you are? And I always say to them, I've got such a supportive mum and dad. Like, that's where the root
really comes from them.
It comes from the support of if you are a good person and you're a good person at heart and you help everyone around, like for example, my dad, I get it off my dad, where it's like, if there's a homeless person, he'll always go off and he'll always feed them.
Amazing.
I remember once he had gloves on his hand and he took them off and he was like, mate, you need them more than I do, because it was winter and we were coming off, and I do it all the time.
You need to get your dad on here.
I know. He would never do something like that. I would honestly, his story's inspirational. So it's stuff like that where it's like if you're good at heart, if your heart and your intentions are pure, you should be helping other people.
Absolutely.
Because I'm at a position now where I can help. Yeah. So I will. So that's the biggest win. It's where people do want me to help and do want to listen. Yeah. My biggest lows are obviously good. It's always. I never see them as lows. I always see everything as a learning. So I might have like a day where it's like, this was such a bad day. Yeah. It was like like getting a job rejection. Okay. But then when you get that, it's like you've got a better role afterwards. So it's stuff like that where it's
meant
like
to be almost. Yeah.
So my biggest lows have never really been a low. It's always been a learning, because a door always opens for something new to come. I think it's more when, say with like my uncle when he passed away, like that was a massive low for me. Yeah. When my dad had a heart attack, like that was the biggest shock to the system. Yeah. It was unbelievable. So it's stuff like that where it's, and when my mum got cancer as well, like those were big lows, but I've seen them as such big, like they've become like blessings now as well. So for example, my nephew, when he got childhood leukemia, so it's just a big thing having cancer in you. So it's like they're my biggest lows when it comes to the family not thinking, but it's brought us closer together. Yeah. So it's, my mum says it as well. She was like, as horrible as it sounds, but when your uncle passed away, the family were never together.
Okay.
But when he passed away, everyone came around, and I'm closer to my cousin now than I ever was with her before.
That's crazy.
Because of stuff like that. So it's like you should always see things as a life lesson or a learning. So my mum now, like, we're all a lot healthier.
Okay.
And even with my dad, when he had his heart attack, we're all a lot healthier. So really, it's helped us and her see that I've actually raised really good kids. Because we were saying that before, like that. I said, Mum, how did you get through that? Like, you had 3 young kids. And she was like, to be honest, Harry, you weren't that young. You were the youngest, and you were 16 at the time. Yeah. So to me, that's not young. That's I've let you grow. You can do your own thing. Like, I don't have to worry about you getting on a bus or something. Stuff like that. So it's I've raised good kids because you're there. You're helping me out. You're helping your dad out. And my dad just took over the house again. Wow, he was like, I've got work, but my wife needs me. Yeah. And he redid the room so that my auntie could stay with us.
Oh wow, lovely.
So it's like, look, your sister's here. Like, I don't have to worry about it. So it's stuff like that where it's that mental resilience. Yeah. And I think it's like a saying, but God never stretches you more than you can be stretched. Okay. So it's like, well, that as a family we can be resilient. So I think to me, it's never a low if you've got a support system ever.
And what a support system you've got by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I know, they're amazing. Amazing. So I never want to move.
No, don't blame me. That sounds amazing. I suppose for people that don't have that support network, what would you advise? Would it be getting out in the community and networking and meeting people that way?
Yeah, I think network is definitely the biggest one. And we in Manchester, we have so many free networks that you can go to. And you can even get food, like free food, guys. That's nice. Can't go wrong with free pizza, can you? So it's like, try and find them on like Eventbrite and network with different people. And the other thing is just speak to people around you. So if you are in a role, speak to those people in there and just be like, look, I've moved from so-and-so place. I don't know where to go. I'm feeling a bit lonely. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying you're feeling lonely. But network with as many people as you can, because you will learn from them, especially in a business sense as well. So go out, speak to people, and have a breadth of people that you can kind of lean on later on. Obviously it's not going to be family, but there's still friends like
people you can talk to.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair to my best friends, so Danny and Jodie, I always speak to them. Like we might not speak, you'll know what it's like, where you have friends you don't speak to for weeks, and then you'll send them a voice note like, oh my god, I've had such a bad day. So it's stuff like that. Just make sure you've got the community around you, but know what it is that makes you feel better. Exercise makes everyone feel better. I don't like going to the gym, but I love walking. Yes. I'll just go for a walk. Yeah, I'm the same. I do, like, I've got a dog at home. So being able to walk him in the night time, like, just clear your mind, it's always nice. Exactly. You know, you talked about, I mean, some incredible things such as, you know, resilience and the role of being, you know, a woman in technology and so many great things. What would you say, you know, to your younger self, if you had a piece of advice now coming into technology? What would be the biggest lesson that you would share? Stop putting so much pressure on yourself.
Okay.
And you have nothing to prove to anyone. At all. Like, the only person that you have to prove is who you were yesterday. It's what my dad says it all the time. So it's like, we were going out for food. Obviously, as a girl, I always want to look nice when we go out. And my dad was like, you've got nothing to prove to anyone. Like, we're literally eating at a takeaway. Like, just get out the house. We've got no food. So it's stuff like that. Like, you have nothing to prove to anyone. So don't put pressure on yourself. You just need to be a good human. Like, just be a good human being. And if you know that you've tried your best, don't chase something.
Love that.
Because and that's another thing, actually. Just don't try and chase stuff. Don't try and chase money. Don't try and chase the role. Don't try and chase the title. Just find something that's natural and that allows you to be you. So be your authentic self no matter what. Because even I've had it where I've been in meetings where I've felt like I need to be this certain person. Like, I need to stop talking now. Oh, I need to do this now. And even
imposter syndrome,
it is imposter syndrome, because you feel like you need to be a certain way. And it's even with like religion as well. Like, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself to act a certain way in front of people that are Muslim because I feel like an imposter. It's like, no, I am who I am. Like, you are who you are. You pray. You believe in, like, it. Why is it that you need to label yourself for other people to make them feel better? So it's stuff like that. Just be your authentic self. You have nothing to prove. And stop putting pressure on yourself.
Just be yourself. Do you feel, you know, women in technology, like, being authentic and being your true self? Like, how do you get to that point of being your true self? Because that's quite a hard journey, I imagine.
Yeah. I am feeling it a lot more now than I ever have before. And it is stuff like, obviously, when there's alcohol around, I just don't drink it. Like, it's simple, but there's some people like, oh, you should never be around it. I'm like, oh God, like, just like, just, can you just allow me to be who I am? Because my mum and dad have raised me a certain way. And the other thing is, stop trying to be perfect. No one's going to be the perfect person.
No.
At all. So as long as I know I'm not harming anyone.
Yes. Yeah.
Just allow me to be myself. And then I feel like with the women in tech stuff that you do.
Yeah.
They don't have that. It's just females that are there to allow you to speak.
Yeah.
So you don't feel of a certain stigma or anything.
Okay.
And you can wear what you like. You can speak however you like. Yeah, exactly. So it's stuff like that where it's there's been so many like events. You've probably had this where you've been to so many events. It's really warm. You're like, what do I actually wear? Because I don't want to be wearing this because it might look like it's this and stuff 100%, like that. And then even with like, I know it sounds stupid, but even with like lipstick as well.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, I can't be wearing red. Why if someone says something? It's like, I just kind of just want to dress how I like. Absolutely. I just want to wear what I like.
Calm me as well.
Exactly. As female, so it's quite nice just figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
And there's never an age where you do figure out who you are. You have your own journey. Yeah. Like 32, I thought 30, like I'd have everything. Like I know who I am. I know where I want to be. I know where I want to live.
Yeah.
At 32, I still don't have a clue. I still don't know who I fully am as myself.
No, you're on that journey still.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel other people still are. Like even in your 60s, you'll still probably be on that journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you can be authentic to yourself and not change who you are, it should be enough.
Be your authentic self.
Yeah.
And what's next for you?
What is next for me? Well, I've recently bought a fixer-upper.
Okay, so that's exciting. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Got it on. It was my dream house as well.
Oh, wow.
So it was it was somewhere close to my mum's and dad's. Obviously, need that for the support system around. Yeah. But it's a proper fixer-upper, and I can't wait to do that up.
That's exciting.
Yeah. In terms of work, I'm pretty happy where I am at the moment. However, in terms of events, I do want to learn a lot more about transformation. I also want to learn more about like the solutions architect side of stuff, just to understand it. Because I know like end to end, you can figure out like the wrapper that you can put around it, but I need to know the middle bits. So how do I shift everything left, and what is true cross functionality?
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Zahraa.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on.
When you messaged me, I'm like, yes.
The first person I wanted to join on this. So thank you so
much. It means
much.
a lot to me.
And you're such, I keep saying it, but genuinely a huge advocate for women in technology, and you're so inspiring, and I love watching you on your journey as well, and I'll keep watching.
Thank you.
So thank you. Thank you so much. It's been lovely having you on.
Oh, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Women in Digital. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do give us a like, a follow, or share with somebody that you think might like it too. If you are a woman working in digital, please do get in touch. If you'd like to share your story, I would love to hear it. Until next time, I'll see you soon.